This is Just Common Sense, embracing common sense conservative principles with Dr. Johnny Hunter.
Well, greetings and salutations, and as always, welcome once again to Just Common Sense, and we're taking this from Proverbs 2:7.
He grants the treasure of common sense to the honest. He's a shield to those who walk with integrity.
And I tell you, today's program, we're going to address something. I have put an invitation out to two congressmen, and one of them has responded. His staff has responded, so they said they're going to see can they get him on sometime. That'll be nice. And that was Hudson. Of course, Tillis, nobody in any of his offices even answered the phone. So we have not been able to reach Tillis, and I'm kind of perturbed there. If we don't hold our elected officials accountable, they go off on the rail. And I am going to remind Tillis there was a reason people didn't vote for John McCain. There's a people didn't vote for Mitt Romney. And you can't outleft the left. And anytime you got somebody in one party going to join the other group, and I'm so concerned, and he's joining a group that has such hatred for the current president that they will vote against him no matter what. And to see a person representing us right here in North Carolina jumping from his party over to the other side is not good. Especially when it came to the Ed Martin situation, they upset with him over January 6th. And there's been a bunch of lies still told about January 6th. No, the demonstration people did not kill a police officer. In fact, a police officer killed a demonstrator.
Yes.
That's the reality of it. And the media has downplayed that so bad the other way around, but they've continued to put out very bad things. But let me tell you what, today's broadcast is very key, because we're living at a time that those of you who are listening, you know that there's never been a clearer time when good versus evil have been so evident. You see evil just coming right out. I mean, evil is acting as evil can act. And there's no little ground between the two of them. And you have to really take advantage of these situations, you know. So I really want to thank you for listening today, and I want to give you a special thank you for your prayers. But as this line between light and darkness now, we can see it so clear, it's going to be time for us to act upon it. There's something called demarcation. Now, the demarcation is the marking. This only read from the dictionary definition of it, Webster's definition. The marking of the limits or boundaries of something. The act, process, or result of demarcating something. The demarcation like of property lines. When you have a property line, if you step over the line going, you act somebody else's property. Mm-hmm. There's a very precise thing about demarcation lines. The second definition is something that marks or constitutes a boundary, like a demarcation line. And I remember the first time I heard about a demarcation line really came from Ann Jimenez. And that was Bishop John Jimenez from the Rock Church. That was his wife. Many years ago, I had just became a little young minister myself. And for the first time, I was invited to one of those nice ministers' luncheons. And Ann Jimenez was the keynote speaker coming in from Virginia Beach over to where we're in the Hampton Roads area. And at that luncheon, she came in fired up. And she raised the issue for every minister that was there. She was saying, we at a point where they have getting ready to cross the demarcation line, and we cannot allow them to cross the demarcation line. There comes a point, and she used the military, they kind of taken from the British definition or something. It's a separation of things seen to be distinct. Now, the political things, it just means you got a geopolitical boundary. In other words, they agreed, well, we're going to have ceasefire in this particular area. But the military, when they have a demarcation line, they're saying this is a line the enemy better not cross, period. And that's what Ann brought up before us. And she challenged every minister and pastor that was there that, folks, the demarcation line is abortion. Mm-hmm. She said, if we let this go on, we have allowed the church to fail in what God wants it to do. We're not succeeding. We're not being victorious. The abortion has to end. And she said, that's one line that cannot be allowed to be crossed. And of course, the year I heard her is also the year that the Supreme Court decided, okay, abortion was fine. Roe v. Wade passed. And, you know, we all went, hey, man, yeah, man, we ate our meal. Went on about our way. And I remember years later, after I got involved in the pro-life movement, and Pat and I, we did get to see Ann Jimenez and got to visit Rock Church. And it was dynamic meeting Bishop John. And I told her I really appreciate her words. Because I told her one of the things that I really realized later on in life, apathy was one of the biggest things for people like me that was keeping this whole abortion thing going forward. Because we knew it was out there, and Ann made that dynamic speech, and none of us moved. Now, Rock Church, by the way, did move. They were going out to the abortion clinics early. Their church even got sued just for somebody putting their feet on the grass out there by the abortuary, you know. And but nevertheless, that was a dynamic thing. And now we're seeing that demarcation line. And all of a sudden, it really has dawned on me, you know, the things the Lord give each one of us ministers, that what the enemy literally is doing is intentionally now going across the demarcation lines. He's doing on purpose. He's out for a war, and he has to do it because the end is near. Mm-hmm. And folks, you're talking about living in the latter days, and the enemy is more aware that we're in the latter days more than us as Christians are. Mm-hmm. You know, we're looking forward to the coming of Christ, you know, and everything. But let me be honest with you. Before that time comes, whether it's tomorrow, 1 minute from now, whether it's 1,000 years from now, what the enemy is trying to do is lay groundwork so however long it takes, he's going to be running everything and just going berserk. Mm-hmm. And he has to do it because I tell you, once eternity kicks in, he's got a lake that's been prepared for him.
Yes. Amen.
And it's a reality. So that separation there, the demarcation line, and folks, is something we need to address as the church. And this could mean I know all the churches are busy. I know every one of us got some things we need to do. But let's look at where we are. The Proverbs, anyway, I could even take the Ten Commandments. 10 Commandments is nothing but a demarcation line. It's saying this is what you shouldn't do. This is the boundary. This is what you shouldn't cross. Proverbs 6, 16, 19 always has spelled it out specifically. Mm-hmm. These 6 things the Lord hates. Yes, 7 are an abomination to him. A proud look. And I start with that one because here we got people, we're living in a nation that actually celebrates what they call gay pride. Mm-hmm. And these folks march around. They got men dressed up like women, acting all smilish and proud and all this and pushing their things on everybody else. You know, and the worst part about it, even among pastors now, we got a pastor that claim he got a husband, you know, in this kind of mess, and then people actually going to pump him up and try to put him up. Whoever's going to the church, you are not in a church. You're in one of the most deceitful places. The demarcation line is just as clear. If your pastor is a man who thinks he's married to another man, he ain't a bit more saved than nothing. You know it. The Bible knows it. And the main thing of it, if you got any bit of common sense, you will get out of there because wherever he's headed, you hold on to his belt and you're going with him. Mm-hmm. In other words, it's a demarcation line. And when people are proud of being sinners, that's really bad. I tell you, anytime I've done something I had no business doing, I felt so embarrassed, so bad. It don't make no sense. I remember, I think I was better when I was young and just got saved than I am as I get older. I remember one time, before I got saved, I worked this thing, and I had a whole auditorium thing, band director and all. And sometimes, you know what I would do? I didn't go buy toilet paper at the Walmart or Kmart store, no store, nothing like that. Nope. Since I had the whole inventory to school, when it's time to get toilet paper, I just go reach into the inventory closet at school and take it on home. Mm-hmm. And after I got saved, the first time I did it, I got convicted by the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. It was so embarrassing. I sat in that auditorium with that toilet paper in my hand crying. Mm-hmm. Here I am stealing from the school. Mm-hmm. I even went and confessed to Pastor Gaston about it. I said, "Oh, McNeil, I cried." He said, "Yeah." He said, "You sure did." And I said, "I don't like be doing that." No, he said, "No, you're not going to do that no more. But you need to give back what it is you stolen, and you need to at least double the effort of whatever you took." And I did, But he was using scripture. But I mean, I got in conviction just over that. Now, the older I get, I find out the worse we get, because the whole thing, the one thing God blessed us to avoid is being proud when we did something we had no business doing. Mm-hmm. People talking about, well, those guys, they're in the closet with their homosexuality and all that stuff. They need to stay in the closet. They don't need to come out at all, because the mess is wrong. I mean, it is so wrong that, it's and they have a proud look. And we're talking about a group that did not even allow Donnie McClurkin to be in the Martin Luther King celebration in Washington, D.C. Why? Because Donnie McClurkin had been on the wrong side, gotten saved, decided to drop that lifestyle, became straight. In other words, he became normal, became very normal. Mm-hmm. And the mere fact that he was like that, those people who was all proud would not even allow him to participate and sing at the Martin Luther King celebration in Washington, D.C. And that's when I realized, oh my, these people are using the civil rights movement to put their thing. Now, another one is a lying tongue. And I can think of so many times that Adam Schiff, one of the senators, said he had evidence of Trump with Russian collusion. Yes. And he was going to present it. And it was so clear. He never did, because he was blatantly lying. Mm-hmm. Not only that, he was the one, the last time Trump was impeached for threatening the Ukraine president something, this guy is the one that he said, here's the narrative. And he made Trump sound like a mafia boss. You better do something. I mean, it was the most horrible allegation that he said, this is what Trump said to this guy on the phone. Well, they released the transcript of what Trump said on the phone, and it was nothing like what he said. It was a cordial conversation between two leaders of different nations. There was no threats made, unlike what Biden did. Biden let them know. He threatened them. Yeah, I threatened them. Told them they better get out there and they had to pay off Biden's son and make sure the prosecutors didn't go after him. Mm-hmm. And Biden bragged about it. Yeah. Now, for Schiff to get up there, and then when he was caught in the lie, he said, no, I was just being, what did he try to say, Pat? I can't remember how he tried to, he said it was a satire. It was just, he tried to say he was just being sarcastic when he read in the congressional record. Right. But when it went in, that was what they used to impeach Trump on. Mm-hmm. Now, let me be honest with you. If that senator don't get his act together before he leaves this earth, he's in danger, because he has a lying tongue, a very lying tongue. And you hear it so much. Anytime we heard and we see that the reason the Bible is like this, because a lying tongue is a bad report. When people don't know the truth, they don't know how to act. They don't know what to do. And they're finding out now that there was people that was out there calling themselves fact checkers who were nothing but just fact liars. They weren't checking nothing. Some of them were hired by big pharmaceutical, and they out there doing their thing. And somebody said, well, epinephrine, and I can't say the name right.
The pen?
No, COVID. One of the things, it was one of the meds I had. Evanectin. I'm not even sure I'm saying it right, y'all. Anyway, hydroxychloroquine, the one that Trump took to work. They found aspirin took. But now they are finding out there's a lot of other things that actually worked and could knock it right out.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, I remember a lady.
Ivermectin.
Ivermectin. Thank you, Pat. That's why I love you, sweetheart. Ivermectin. And it actually works.
Yes.
It had to give you a dose of it.
Yes, I remember that. And it did work.
And it did work. Now, what is interesting is we had a friend, a pastor's wife, and her name was Sister Cox, and she had a bad case of the COVID. It hit her hard. And they treated her with hydroxychloroquine. And she actually posted on Facebook, guys, after hydroxychloroquine, 3 days and I'm fine. I'm back at health, and they blocked her and called her putting out misinformation.
Right.
The Facebook fact checkers did this. They weren't fact checking, they were lying. And folks, when people lie, that hurts people. Think of the number of people that could have went through this and been well had not the pharmaceuticals had people out there lying on their behalf.
Right.
Now, we found out the freedom of speech is not supposed to be doing. And the way they were getting around, they said, well, this is not, one of the very first amendments, you do have a freedom of speech and you had a freedom of expression. And they were saying, well, no, it says Congress should make no law about that. So that wasn't them interfering. Now we're finding out from the people that actually did Facebook that they were getting pressure from the administration and Congress at the time, from the Biden administration and from Congress, people in Congress, threatening them, making them do fact check and shut down anybody that came against COVID. Folks, that was about as legal as you can get. So when they said they weren't being involved, once again, they were lying. And I think that's not lying not bad enough. Anytime you can start telling children there's more than two genders, more than a boy and a girl. Anyway, a lying tongue. This is something that's a demarcation line. Hands that shed innocent blood. And this is one where we look at when talking about the killing of innocent children, innocent little babies. A baby is about as innocent as you can get, and especially a baby that's in the mother's womb. That baby has done absolutely nothing wrong, has done nobody no harm. That child is innocent. And yet they're going to use the force of legalized murder to kill that little innocent baby. When you shed innocent blood, it doesn't go well. Not only in the biblical times, it did not go well if you killed innocent blood and the person was older. Cain and Abel give you right away, shows you what God think about the shedding of innocent blood. Yes. When Cain killed his own brother, now that brother was alive, well, and doing fine. Yeah. But I tell you, God was not going to have no part of that. Shedding of innocent blood is terrible. So if you think it's bad when you kill an innocent person alive, and people get upset if somebody innocent gets shot, but let me tell you the demarcation line, what is so bad now. Now people are getting mad if they go after somebody that's trying to kill somebody else. Oh, yeah. Now that's about as ridiculous as you can get. If somebody pulls a gun and starts shooting at a police officer and the police officer shoots him, folks, it's just common sense that police is trying to save everybody else's life and his own. Yes. If you don't want to get shot by a policeman, please do not pull out a gun and aim at him. This is because you're no longer innocent when you do these kinds of things. Anyway, let's keep on going because there's more. Heart that devises wicked plans. And this is where the politics comes in at. Because there are wicked plans that was very much in the agenda of things we saw in previous times. All of a sudden, we saw people that were stealing classified documents. We're now learning that Hillary not only stole classified documents and had them hidden in a bathroom basement, but now we find out a lot of those documents were sold to foreign countries. And who knows how much. We're now finding out there was other things on Anthony Weiner's laptop that I had no idea was there. And the stuff is too disgusting for me to put on a Christian radio station to tell you what was on it. That's how bad things are. But for them to despise a wicked plan where they decided, well, we got to make sure we win again, and they did all kinds of things to cheat, makes no sense at all. People saw them close down the voting thing down there in Georgia. They saw it close. They saw them send most of the people home. Mm-hmm. They saw when they left, and after everybody was going to the place where we closed, this lady goes under this table, pulls out this whole set of new ballots, and starts counting them. Mm-hmm. Folks, you saw that. That was a wicked plan going on. Mm-hmm. And if you really want to see something, there's a movie called, what was 1,000 Views? I forgot how many views. 2,000 views. And they thought they would never find out. And that's Dinesh D'Souza. He exposed the powerful evidence of voter fraud.
Yes. That
were told didn't exist. But it did exist. And for somebody to put that big of a scheme out there, mm-hmm. that was somebody wicked that divided wicked plans. Now, what we also don't know is who been running the presidency for the last 4 years, previously to Trump being elected here. They're trying to pretend that nobody knew that Biden was suffering from dementia. And everybody that had common sense could see him and knew this guy was about as off as he could ever be. They had to even set up a fake. You know, he really wasn't in the White House. He wasn't there. They had a Hollywood set designer come in. They built another whole set that looked exactly like it was the Oval House. So whenever you saw Oval Office, it made it look like that's where he was. Mm-hmm. But that was not where he was. Whoever was running this thing and whoever signed all these things, and they actually released some bad criminals, murderers, and everybody. Whoever decided to open up those borders and let everybody in, I don't even think Biden even had a clue of what was going on. And you could tell Biden had a clue the first time he appears in one presidential debate, and boom, and they decided they better get rid of him real fast. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They didn't even go through the regular election procedures, set up the next person who could. They didn't let it go through the convention, nothing. They just put it in there. And then they acted like, well, we're in support of democracy. The Republicans come against them. Nope. They were fighting against democracy. Mm-hmm. Everything they were accusing others of doing, they were the ones that was doing it. Mm-hmm. That's a and feet that are swift to run into evil. Mm-hmm. And they were doing stuff fast. It was on day one that Biden signed all those executive orders that shut down us being able to drill for our own, open all the borders up for everybody, that legalized illegal people getting in here without any consequences, putting their trials off to almost 2,000 and something, giving them plenty of time. And one who sows discord among the brethren, that's in the church itself, y'all. Mm-hmm. So now, all these things have happened, but the demarcation line has been passed. Mm-hmm. The moment they took prayer out of schools, the demarcation line, it passed. Mm-hmm. Now, 10 Commandments, when they took that out of schools, they were really going to, and it just went over. And when I was coming up, they said, global freezing, the earth going to be frozen by 1980 if we don't do something about it. Well, it didn't freeze. Then we had global warming. CO2, and the earth going to be burnt to a crisp by the year 2000. Well, that didn't happen. And CO2, by the way, is what plants use to grow. Mm-hmm. And then they had to come up with this thing called climate change. And they got Bernie Sanders, AOC, flying around in private jets, criticizing rich people for messing up the atmosphere. The abortion that Ann Jimenez wanted was legalized by the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. The same kind of Supreme Court that legalized said slavery was okay. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't okay. When you look at the Bible, they had even a year jubilee. People call it, they call it slavery in the Bible. When you read Leviticus 25, you don't have time to read it now. I'm in the last few minutes, the music getting ready to kick in here. When they get to Leviticus 25, you will find out something. They had something called, if you have a servant, after 7 years, they had a Sabbath of 7 years. It was called release. They were released in the year of Jubilee, he and his children with him. Mm-hmm. And the Lord reminded them, because you were servants to me when you were servants when you was even in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. In other words, there was a year of Jubilee. Yes. Not our Supreme Court. They didn't have no Jubilee there. Solomon was legalized by the Supreme Court. Same-sex mess was okay by the Supreme. Claimed that there was more than two genders, male and female. And everybody knows what the Bible said. God made male, female. I mean, that is as clear as daylight. Then you got transgender, and they talking about you need to have gender-affirming care. And that would be like treating somebody who's anorexic with liposuction. That would make no sense at all. That person does not have a biological problem. That person has a mental problem going on. Mm-hmm. And it's confusing children. Now, let me tell you, as we end this program, let me tell you about the risk of everybody, reason we as Christians got to stand. Because God is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Yes.
And I remember even this younger pastor, Dale Pascal, said the other Sunday, God is the same in the Old Testament as he is in the New Testament. Mm-hmm. Nothing has changed. It's still God. And if you notice carefully, Exodus 15:4, when God got upset with some folks, he drowned them. Mm-hmm. Pharaoh's chariots and his army, he has cast in the sea. His chosen captains also are
drowned in the Red Sea.
Thank you, man. And God drowned some folks that was acting up, coming against people. Now, let me tell you what Jesus said. Nice, sweet Jesus, 18th chapter of Matthew 6. He warns of offensive. He said, whoever causes one of the little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone was hung around his neck than he was drowned in the depths of the sea. Mm-hmm. He's the same God.
Yes.
That was him walking among us.
Yes.
And letting us know you go around confusing children if you want to. It would have been better off if you were already dead. That's how bad it is. Mm-hmm. So, folks, we got to do something that Louisiana did. Last year, Louisiana became one of the very first states to go back and say, yep, it's time to put the Ten Commandments back up in the schools.
Yes.
And they're going for it.
Yes.
I want you to understand what the enemy has been up to. This whole open borders thing has always been about going across a demarcation line. In other words, we have borders, you're not supposed to cross them, and we got a whole set of enemy who say, yes, you should cross them. And anybody can. They came at evil hates borders. They hate the commandments because they are moral borders. Mm-hmm. Notice that the hatred is so vast that they even favor gang members, even if the wicked come across. Mm-hmm. The whole idea of fighting over these borders is the same thing. It's showing us whose side people are on. Mm-hmm. Now, what you do is use your just common sense and pick the right side. Because, folks ain't going to take advantage of the one thing that Jesus Christ saves. And you want to be on the right side, because if you pick the wrong side, you're saying the opposite. God sets up borders. Let's protect the demarcation line.
Just Common Sense, a common sense approach to life with Dr. Johnny Hunter. Get involved and embrace common sense conservative principles when you visit learninc.org. LEARNINC, learninc.org. To listen, like, and share, look for Just Common Sense anywhere you listen to podcasts.